As I sketch daily among the homeless, they tell me startling things. They reveal the depths of their degradation and express the hopes they still maintain. Perhaps they yearn for a sympathetic ear and see in me a fellow crawler on this commodious planet who is non-judgmental, non-threatening, wholly human, a good listener. Like Walt Whitman, I loaf and invite my soul, not on a leafy knoll, contemplating a blade of summer grass, but on Santa Monica's 3rd Street Promenade. I'm here to sketch the goings and comings of homeless people. I stroll to my favorite spot, where I will wait to sketch and paint the fascinating faces and figures I see. I'm a familiar figure, so people accept me as they accept the air around them. It's Saturday afternoon, and a few months ago, the promenade would have been bustling with the homeless. Now, after several police sweeps, most have left. For what? For greener pastures? Who knows? I know a guy, a wonderful character I call Sandcastle Bill. He's a Vietnam veteran, and seeing so much blood and guts over there, he built sandcastle on the beaches of Vietnam, and he came to Santa Monica Beach, and he saw that beautiful beach and the beautiful people out there, and for the past 22 years he's been building sandcastles out there. A long time ago you told me how you got homeless. I've forgotten.
Oh, well, it happens that I like to gamble. And I found that if I worked a 5-day week, got about $200. Friday night or Saturday morning, I went and played poker. Working only and sleeping and being broke seemed very dumb. So I said, forget it, I'm not going to work if I'm going to throw it all away on Friday night. If I don't have it, I won't gamble with it.
I've never been along the promenade after 11 o'clock.
I have.
Tell me what happens along here, these fancy stores and so forth.
You have?
I smell piss all over the place.
Yeah, well, that isn't as bad. Usually you have a man who's yelling and screaming, or another one who's trying to pull up a pipe. I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him. They have a lot of mental breakdown, you know, a lot of, if you're homeless and nobody wants to talk to you, soon you become mentally retarded. Your mind needs to visit with other people.
A lot of people.
And the instant other people, you can't get anyone to say good day to you, how are you, because all you want to do is ask them for some money. Nobody wants to talk to you.
How'd you escape all that?
Like I said, I had...
And you're big.
Yes, and I had 2 old men that let me stay in their home most of my life. Now, if I'd have been 25 years on this street, I'd probably be going to be, you know, and make no sense whatsoever.
We moved to San Diego, and we lived on the 5th floor of a brand new condominium in the middle of San Diego. And I'd see a group of homeless people down there, and they had such interesting faces. I'm itching to draw these guys, you know. And finally I got bold enough, and I went down and I said, hey guys, what's up? They looked at me and says, what's up? You ain't a cop, are you? I said, oh, do I look like a cop?
I drew that, I drew that, I drew that, drew that, drew that. It looks like, to me it looks like my Jewish wife. There's her 2 eyes right there. There's her big nose. There's her big lips. There's her kind of frizzy black hair. She's kind of got like some kind of Jewish headdress on, as if that she thinks she's African. And then, you know, perhaps these are her, you know, tiny little breasts right there when she actually has big gargantuan breasts. But this definitely looks like a caricature in old French style, France and so on and so forth, of my wife. I'm like a second Julian Schnabel. It's like that's how I look at myself now.
I went down hamburger joint and got them hamburgers and Coke. And when they were full and they were in a garrulous mood, I said, "You don't mind if I draw you, do you?" And the guy said, "No, we got the time." And so I started drawing them. And from then on, you know, I thought, wow, this street is full of people like this that I'm drawing. I go to the courthouse and they're leaning against the courthouse. I go to the park and they're lying there. So I started drawing them. I realized that, you know, there are people out here. They're not some a group of people to be shoved around and warehoused or neglected or whatever. I mean, they're people. They're part of our society. It could be your son, your grandson out there.
How do you live on the street? It's called you adapt yourself to a situation, especially when you're a certified mason and you can't even get a job. I started laying brick at 15. Started at $15 an hour and went up to $150 an hour within 5 years. My mother being pretty much like me, except for the fact that with her bipolar manic depression, she didn't crunch him to a shell. She lashed out. Sorry. A kid can only handle being beat for no reason for so long. Because she didn't even know what her mind was doing.
I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and I have post-traumatic stress disorder. And with the PTSD, I suffer from severe depression. Well, I was squatting over on the parking lot. They just made a closed parking lot for it. It was over on Lincoln. Yeah. And I went up and I got restless, so I went walking around, and I was at Polly's. It used to be Polly's Pie. Yeah. So what happened was What happened was a friend of mine just got out of prison, and he texted me. I've been waiting to hear from him. Yeah. And I sat on the curb stop, and I'm sitting there text messaging, and a security guard pulls up and says, you know, get the F out of here. Yeah. You know, they're real disrespectful. Mm-hmm. And I said, I stood up. I told him, don't talk to me like that. I said, F you. I'm a veteran. Don't talk to me like that. Yeah. And he got out of the vehicle and he had this big, huge 3-pound flashlight. Yeah. And
broke your nose, didn't he?
Well, what had happened was I saw that and I said, well, fine, I'll do it. So I picked up my bag, turned around, and he whacked me went from behind. And he whacked me right in the face with a flashlight. Yeah. And then he followed me, like what came down here, through 2 blocks, blood squirting everywhere. You know, and then a cop drove by, didn't even stop.
What prospects do you have? What do you?
I've been here. I've been living in my van with my brother, playing music in the streets for over 6 years. My basic hope is to keep doing this. My oldest brother was a guitar player, and he was kind of a genius, I thought. Mm-hmm. And by the time I hit high school, he had come down with schizophrenia. Oh. So he heard voices, he went crazy, but his I don't talk about him a lot, so he gets me sometimes. Sure. But anyway, he taught me how to love a guitar. So,
do you remember Nora?
Vaguely. Now, she was that
just
really beautiful woman.
Beautiful kid, yeah.
What was her story, Dewey? But she was interesting to me.
Remember, she used to be out here by herself.
Okay, yeah.
And she'd be with a different guy every time I see her. And then finally she appeared, and then she disappeared. And then she appeared with a baby carriage.
Oh.
Especially for women, I think there's vulnerabilities there. A lot of them, you know, the spouses leave, or marriages and relationships end, and then they haven't had the preparation or the resources to help them out of that kind of a crisis. And they very often end up in a shelter, and then from shelters, you know, into the street.
Hi,
Hey,
Gary.
Marie.
How are you?
Haven't seen you in a while.
Ah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. How you been?
Oh, I'm hanging on. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah. Been a while.
Yes, it has
You been sick or something?
Yes, I was sick the first 2 weeks of this year. I almost died.
Oh my God.
Yes, because of cutback on Medi-Cal, they wouldn't admit me in the hospital.
No.
I had to spend everything I had saved towards housing to get a motel room. And
that's rough.
Yes.
You know, you've never told me how come you, a bright-looking person like you, got on the streets. Tell me about that.
Oh, well, it was a, what do you call it? A government setup by the people in my hometown. And I was living in the senior complex, and this woman living behind me had her 43-year-old mental son living with her. And they all had keys to my apartment. When I was gone, they would just go in and help themselves to everything I owned. And
Where was this?
In Artesia, New Mexico. And so I just, for 2 months, they kept me awake night and day, and it was just torment, you know?
Yeah.
And so I said, this isn't right. And finally, I just called my daughter and I said, come and do something with my stuff, because if I don't leave, I'm going to kill somebody. I'm tired of this mess. And I just tossed her the keys to the apartment, and I just got in my car with what I could take with me and drove off.
Yeah. How's the cancer coming along?
It's in remission right now, but it'll flare back up. It just, you know, it's a tricky thing.
What is it, colon cancer?
Yes, and intestinal cancer, and it's coming into my bladder and my kidneys, and it's bad. But with food and attitude, I'm going to beat it.
We've been homeless for about 3 years now. My house burnt. I also have heart problems. I could feel it coming on. Nobody wanted to believe me. I told them it was in my family history. I had a heart attack out here before. Went to the hospital. Was released without meds. Released without meds. That's what caused all this.
I mean, that's really, I think, the true face of the homeless, is the fact that it's poverty, you know, because homelessness isn't a problem and it isn't an issue. It's really poverty and people who don't make enough and people who don't have the training or, you know, the resources or know how to find, you know, the resources.
Yeah.
You know, people need other people to care about them in order to find out what it is, you know, that how they can be best served. I don't know if it was like an older guy downtown or around here, but he had like this illness that had left him, you know, just spiraling. Basically, it debilitated him, and he spiraled into, you know, one bad decision after another, and that was the end.
This turned 68. Vietnam, I feel found. I feel found. I guess that's in right. And, you know, I was called found 409. And I found. You don't know what that is, do you? You have no idea what that is, do you? No. That lady's called the Navy Cross. That's a Navy Cross. Yeah, you don't know what that means.
I've never seen it.
I don't care. It doesn't hurt me. It's the young kids. That's what hurts. I'm only coming back from fighting over there, disabled. I got no money.
It seems to be that there's a new way of thinking about this issue, right? At least from my end, what I've seen, people talking about a different way to do this and not trying to make these people follow a certain program, but try to individualize it the way that you do by talking to each one of them. I think that's being done more. I mean, they're very resilient. That's the one hopeful thing that I can say, is that human beings are resilient. We do manage to, you know, to make the best of situations.
Of all the human emotions, what do you think is the most important?
When you can give people space to do what they want to do in life, that's love. When you can let your wife go out and go to the movies or go to the bar and not worry a bit that she's going to go out cheating on me, that she's going to do something. That's love. When you can literally in your heart know the person that you care about does care about you too, and there's nothing to worry about. The ultimate answer is that I don't do anything to you that you wouldn't do to me. The ultimate answer to me is justify everything you do and say in life. Make it know in your heart that you'd have them do it to you.
I have to explain to them that I'm like an intelligently designed human being made by some kind of not yet legalized process. People that recreate a human being from scratch based on DNA and grew myself into the adult that I am, and then manipulated me for my entire lifetime, and then I have to become, you know, famous for representing them. And of course, painting, it has to be telepathic in order to represent them. But of course, there's a God that created the universe also. So in the back of my mind, I'm aware if I don't become famous as a telepathically based artist, I won't become famous, period, whatsoever at all. Telekinetic, like the movement of actual physical objects and things like that. It happens on my surface of my painting. I'll show you one of my favorite ones. Favorite ones.
Yeah, just show you.
Okay, well, I'll show one that proves telepathy. If I can remember which one proves telepathy. It's this blue bull with the Buddha with my mother, because that's actually what my mother looks like. That's her whole demeanor, her whole attitude, the way that she's scrunched over. She's like 73 years old right now. She's really short. And my father is old too, but he's not normally bent over like that, you know. But this large pivoting figure, this large man figure, this keeps on reappearing in my paintings all the time. I believe it's based on the number 19.
Yeah, thank God for AA. Thank God. Thank God for sobriety, because none of it would be possible. None of anything that I have or anything that I'm doing would have been possible if it hadn't been for AA. Actually, that's true. You know why? Because I was coming out of an AA meeting here on the promenade, and I walked out with a friend of mine, and and some scouts came up and says, "You got the look we're looking for." Yeah. And I thought they were full of. But yeah, right, sure, or whatever. Okay, so I'll call the number, and I went and made an appointment. I went down and saw them. They go, yeah, you are what we were looking for, so we need you to make another appointment for an audition. Yeah. So I went to another office in Hollywood for an audition, and I choked. I mean, I had to read in front of all these people. I'd never done it before, and I started stuttering and stuff, and it was funny. And then I got home. They said, "Well, we'll call you." I said, "Yeah, sure you will." Whatever, you know. They said about 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. My phone rang. Says, "Yeah, we want you to be in our agency. We got work for you." And I go, "But what about the audition?" He said, "Don't. That's not why we hired you. We hired you for the way you look." No. I said, "You can work on your skills." Just recently did a Singular Wireless commercial with Forrest Whitaker on Super Bowl Sunday. So
well, you've got a career in the making.
I'm trying, but it's tough. It's really tough. The acting, for serious actors, that the only ones that are really doing well are the ones that are famous, or pretty close to famous, or already got the SAG and already doing the deal and have an agent. I don't have an agent, so.
Here we are to my wonderful, lovely home, which I nicknamed Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah. And this one is the best one of all. Only when the last tree has died, and the last river has been poisoned, and the last fish has been caught, will we realize that we cannot eat money. That's my favorite. Here we go. There's actually a little light here. You might be able to see. It's a bit of a mess. I didn't have time to straighten it up this morning.
This is where you spend the night. So.
Yes, it is. And I'm sorry that the world is in the mess it's in, because there should be peace. Instead of weapons, they should be picking up plows. They should be making houses instead of destroying homes. And it doesn't make sense to me that they're doing all this crazy, evil stuff. I don't understand it, but I know that one day God's going to come back, and when He's through, everything's going to be the way it should be. There won't be any of these buildings left. There won't be any pavement. There won't be anything like it is now.
I'm so bored and irritated with the word choice. Did I choose to be fat? I don't know. I chose to eat the biggest meal that I ate last time. Or did I? I don't know anymore. I'm so tired of choice. This is what I am. I'm a fat artist who writes, I think, really well, who sings his ass off, who plays a mean guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm 42 years old, and I'm tired of pretending that I'm supposed to do something else. I'm done with it.
Most people look upon the homeless as something that they would like to put under the rug, disappear, out of sight, out of mind. They don't realize that what we call the homeless could be our brothers, our sisters, our parents, even our grandparents. There are old people out there. To see that kind of attitude, that kind of feeling that these people don't matter, to me is a real blot on our civilization. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be out here enjoying the promenade and sketching these people. I say that because I'm 90 years old, and I wonder about these people. There's a lot of hope out there, and some of them have really made homelessness into a strange kind of art. I hope things will be better for them. I hope that people's hearts and the laws will change so that we'll be able to bring them back into society the way they ought to be treated.
Summer day, sprinkler child floats through the city on a country mile. She got a big Maggie short, sang low, some girl hair and a button on. Say low, wave goodbye, wave goodbye. She blows a kiss to the old man on the park bench. His face expands with a smile that's heaven sent. Swings on the swing, slide down the slide. The light in a hurry, but she's taking her time. Say hello, wave goodbye, wave goodbye. And out on the playground, she's everyone's best friend. Let her get along the boy, like the boy in the sand. Under the sprinkler, teaching the children to dance. She says wave goodbye and say hello, blow a kiss and wiggle your toe. Let the world spin, watch your face is green. Now ride the phone again. Let the sun beat down, hit the ground. Oh, my feet are with the sound of laughter, said the sprinkler child. Say hello, wave goodbye, sprinkler child. Sun goes down, as it always does. Everyone heads home for the family's love. Sprinkler child kicks back and smiles, remembers the day, then drifts away to Tomorrow is just a breath away. She'll be back again, doobly. The other children bring their son. She'll bring a rain. Sprinkle the child. Sprinkle the child.
Wow, Dave.